My computer crashed so hard. My phone, my phone's like, hey, a new laptop was just added to your account. It made my computer unrecognizable. That's crazy. No big deal. This is just the laptop that I have that has all of my stories on it. That's cool. That's cool. That's not nerve-wracking. Is this still... Here's a question for you. I booted this back up and went live. Is this still the same live stream or a new live stream? Where am I? New live stream. Good to know. Good to know. Sheesh. Dude, this is crazy. It crashed so hard that all of my apps are like having to update. That doesn't feel safe. That doesn't feel good. Think I'm seeing a pattern here. I hope not. Originally, I've been having issues with my microphone. So I bought a new microphone that's coming in tomorrow. Hello. So I bought a new microphone that's coming in tomorrow, but also, where's our chat? Where's our chat box? Got the Scrivener. All right, we're coming back. Woo! Close one. Yeah, it sounds like maybe I should be backing up my computer soon. Good Lord. Housel's pretty intensive on the computer, it seems. All right. Let's hope that doesn't happen again, and let's go to the next one. Let's do our next thing here. Yeah. I do back up my laptop pretty frequently, but I've been bad about it lately. Because it's been 90 days since I've backed up my laptop. That would suck to lose all that progress. That is, all right, real talk. That's maybe one of the downsides of Scrivener, as opposed to writing on something like Google Docs. When you're writing on something that's cloud-based, even if your laptop goes down, you got that writing saved somewhere. Now, to be fair, what you can do, Scrivener lets you declare a backup folder so that every time you're like doing stuff, it's saving backup copies of your project. You can set that using some of the features for Google Drive. Like on my laptop, I can have Google Drive attached to a folder, and I can have Scrivener save backups into that folder, and it's automatically uploaded to the cloud. But I guess what I'm saying is, if you're writing in Scrivener and everything's local, which normally is a benefit to me, beware. You can still lose your writing. Could be a deal breaker. I do love me some Scrivener. Woo! Humbling. Also, how's the microphone sound today? I added some, I did a little bit more on the vocal chain for my audio processing, which is, maybe that's why my computer crashed. So I have like a compressor on there, and I have a limiter, so I get pretty loud when I'm yelling at things, and surprisingly, I yell a lot. Just because I'm having a good time. So I also put a limiter on here so it's not like blowing your eardrums out, hopefully. So, hey, good. Glad it's sounding nice. All right, where did we leave off from planning yesterday? Maybe that's a sign from those up above that we should get to work. Yesterday, I was focused mostly on planning out world building. Hello, Marcos. Nice to see you. I was planning out world building, and I was showing you some cool features in Scrivener for linking documents together. For those who don't know, I think this is pretty awesome. If you go in here, let's say I'm doing some plot framework stuff, and let's say I want to be able to create like a Wikipedia type effect inside my planning. I can click on to a word, right click, and go down to link documents. And this is where I can create a link. Most of the times it actually figures out like exactly what you're trying to link to if things are named the same. And so I can create these little in document links that go to certain characters. And now when I click on that, it opens it up in a new editor, which maybe for the plot framework right here, it's not like the big selling point. But if I wanted to go in here to one of my main characters, I can't remember who I did this with before, and I wanted to throw a table up at the top and standardize some of my story planning things, which you can make these into templates, so it's kind of cool. And I wanted to do something like character relationships. I could create like a Wikipedia type entry here. I guess I'll just do it like this. Mother, father, love interest, and foil. Also, give me my nice font that I like. Say Savannah Glavin. Bam bam. Command L as the shortcut. Link to existing document. It's going to automatically detect the character I am trying to link to. Willow says, who's foil? Foil is a term that you use for the character that's sort of the exact opposite thematically from your, in this case, my main character. In the case of a main character, it's going to be something like your protagonist and your antagonist. But foil is sort of a term for, I guess, like a polar opposite, like the other side of, you know, this character. I don't know if that's a good explanation. Someone else will be better at explaining foils. Not tinfoil. Get out of here. Yeah, I think this is pretty neat. Rebecca. Now, if you were to take something like this and you like this kind of idea, and then you can take this document and add it as a template sheet down here, then you can really start to see some cool things here. If you can standardize your Wikipedia type entries that you're doing for your world, I mean, that's pretty neat. That was something we were looking at yesterday. Big fan of that. Template sheets, by the way, I think I can open this one up. These are in my my project by default. But template sheets, you can create your own templates if you like having character sheets. If you want to do some sort of Wikipedia style entry, you just add that document down here into this template sheets directory, and then you can go into a folder, right click, and you can tell it, I think, somewhere to use a certain template. Maybe it's in the project stuff. Somewhere around here, there's information about creating new documents from templates. But pretty cool. All right. All that being said, that's what I did the other day. Settings. We've been working on plots. Today, I'm going to be working on characters. And so I want to ask you guys here about how you come about figuring out your characters, because I'll share my process, but I would love to hear. I think writing characters is a very almost personal thing, in the sense of it just makes sense in some way for you to do it, but everyone kind of has their own interpretation of what that one way is. Too used to Google Docs. Foil feels more like the perceived antagonist, where rival and contrast might be friends, but challenging. Love that. I make the characters first, the world next, the side characters last. But what goes into making your characters? For me, This is kind of interesting because I think when I'm planning a story, I almost always will go kind of plot first. I'll say, okay, what's going to happen in the story? And that's usually where like the first idea kind of comes. And then there's usually also some sort of inkling about the kind of setting that a story will have. In this case, I was inspired by the campground, and then I was kind of thinking about how a campground could be a cool part of a story, and that led me to the plot. And in this case, now it's like developing the characters. And I say this all the time. I say, these things aren't planned in isolation. Every decision you make on your setting and your plot influences the kind of character you want to put on there. And then that influences your plot in some way. And it all kind of generates together. But by being a little bit reductionist, we're going to talk about it like it's an isolated thing. All right, here we go. We got some good stuff in here. Marco says, I make some notes and discover them in the drafts. Love that. That's usually my approach, but I'm trying things differently this time. Bra says, when I come up with the plot, I usually come up with a few characters alongside it. The characters make up the world. This one's from Willow. They sort of go with the world. I like that phrasing. Your characters go with the world. And I make the characters along with the world, and the side characters and other details come naturally. All right. They need to have, this is from Zinder, they need to have characters that fit the plot if the plot necessitates the introduction of a new character or not. Whew. Lots of different approaches here. Victoria says, for characters, I love the Tail Tinker. Shout out Sasha. The framework, emotional points usually help with my brainstorming and empathy maps. I'd love to hear more about an empathy map. Also, let me put something up on the screen that's not just a blank document. Here's a Glade. Shout out Glades. Ross says, most of my characters start off as a mishmash of people I know in real life and fictional characters before they grow into their own person. That's a very normal thing, for sure. And I think that's a good place to start. And then, of course, in the draft, like Marco was saying, you're kind of like figuring out, you know, all those intricacies. Phantom says, I feel really inspired to make a character. If I feel really inspired to make a character, I'll spend some time thinking about the details, note them down somewhere, and then put it into a character template from my Discord role-playing days. That's cool. That's cool. Interesting. All right, so here's the deal. I think in my process, in my past stories, I've definitely been more a discovery kind of person when it comes to characters. And you've heard me talk about this as well before, that, you know, in the big conversation of plotters versus pantsers, it's not, you know, a black and white thing, and different stories are going to have you treating it in different ways, and even different aspects of your story. You can be more of a plotter for your plot and more of a pantser for your characters. That tends to be kind of where I fall in the grand scheme of things. I think in my head, I'm also doing something similar to what Bra said, where it's like, you know, I kind of have a general gist of what I want the character to be. And so in my head, I'm already pulling all of these different qualities from people I've known, fictional characters that have similar qualities or play similar narrative roles in other stories. So that's interesting to see. There's a lot of different approaches. A lot of different approaches to it, for sure. I've never been one for a character sheet. I've tried once or twice, but I've yet to find a character sheet that really like made me believe it was the right choice for me, if that makes sense. Does anyone here use character sheets? Also, let me fix my camera a bit. Was that Victoria that said that they use the Tail Tinkerer's approach, but not character sheets, you said? There we go. Come on. Hold. Fixing my camera. Okay, nice. Character sheets feel too restricting, a common point of feedback, I think. But on the other side, I hear other people say how nice it is that you can go through a character sheet, and it kind of tends to serve a little bit of the purpose of discovering your character in writing. It just makes you think about them in different situations. So I can see that how that could be useful. Bray says, I usually create one character like the protagonist, and from there I create other characters with their role for the protagonist in mind. Definitely. Likewise. Like what of his traits or beliefs do they change? The character sheet is the empathy map. I had never heard it called an empathy map. Now, here's also, Victoria, since I've never heard of this empathy map, which you're saying is the character sheet, is this like a chart of relationships? Because I've heard of something like that before, of who, what's the right word? The relationships of your character with everyone else. Who are they friends with? Who do they hate? Who do they like? I write the lore and personality first, then figure out what they look like. Since the one that I use from a roleplay is mostly open-ended about anything I want to add, and Frey says I always start using character sheets because they seem very fun, but then I forget about them pretty soon and never use them. But Frey, the question is, does going through that character sheet, even though you forget about them and never use them, help define that character more in your head as you go on to write? Because then that would still serve that purpose, you know? Let me check one other thing. Sorry, just getting some things squared away. It really don't. Okay. There's the final answer. It really don't. I'll explain empathy maps in the Discord. I would love that. Maybe someone else will see that idea and be like, that's what I've been waiting for. Bray, what you just said, that is my biggest issue with character sheets most of the time, is that it gets me, you say, it just gets me thinking about so much stuff about the characters that are not necessary for my story. That's how I feel. It sounds like that's a common sentiment for those who don't already use character sheets in their workflow. Every character sheet I've seen, no, I won't say that. I would say that I've seen a lot of character sheets that are gonna say things like, is your character's room messy or tidy? And I'm like, brother, I don't care about that. I don't care. And I've seen a lot of those character sheets. Once a character appears a few times in the story, it's easy to keep them going without having to look back. All right. So it sounds like lots of different approaches, but kind of the same idea of like maybe a character sheet gets an initial image for a character, but it's really writing the character that really brings their qualities out. I'm gonna try to do more planning, but who knows? Who knows how it's gonna go? Speaking of, I think it's time to put some timer on the screen and to do some writing or planning. This is the last day of planning before November starts. Man, it really be happening. Let's take advantage of it. 25 minutes going on the timer. I'll turn the lo-fi music up. If you really dig the royalty-free lo-fi music that I found, I put this in the Discord where you can see all the artists and the songs. I need to be better and put it in the description of this video. But yeah, if you want to go find any more music by them, these are some good songs. There's some good artists. All right, let's do it. The sprint is over. Woo! We had some people join in. I saw that we had Justin. Welcome, Justin. So glad to see you. Long time no see. How'd everyone do? Were you able to make any progress in your own planning? Do we have anyone who's actually out there writing already? I swear every time I do one of these sprints, it feels like that 25 minutes is like shorter than it was last time. That's wild to me. Ross says, I think I'll start writing before bed. Love that. It's also, it's a good way, I think, to sort of turn in for the night. Phantom says, I started writing the next part of my character introductions. Let's go. Is that your character introductions in the draft? Or is that you planning things out still? I'm itching to start writing myself. It's been hard. It's been hard not to. Wolfie says, I cheated a bit. I started 2 minutes earlier, but got 499 words. Let's go. That's awesome, Wolfie. That's not cheating. You know, all of the sprints that you know, I guide us through, those are just suggestions. You can always write more than those 25 minutes. You can put me on mute. Wait. Maybe I shouldn't say that. You know what? Whatever gets you going. I've been itching to write this novella since September. I love that. Leonard Valley says, my outlining ends up with plenty of fully written chunks. So it's kind of like half drafted. That doesn't sound like a bad problem to have. All right, nice. I was able, you know, I don't often do all this kind of planning for my characters, so what just kind of felt right for me was to just like start kind of in the same way that I do a brain dump for the plot, kind of do a brain dump for the characters. So just writing it almost like a stream of consciousness. Some of these details are the first time I'm getting the details down for the character, but they've been like affirmed in my head for plenty of time. So I kind of have a lot of this stuff in my head, but I guess it's a good thing to have it written down, I guess. And then I did find one really valuable thing in writing some information about this main character was that I wrote this little bit here. It says Devin struggles with thoughts of lying to his father but cannot handle the worry and disappointment that will come when he finally tells the truth. So he's choosing to lie over telling the truth to avoid some ramifications. And then I stopped and I said, wait a minute, that seems like a pretty big piece of someone's personality. So I then wrote down a little question here. How does that show up in other places of the character? And then that made me really start to think more about this sort of inkling, the seed of what I had about this character is like, okay, if I was to really plan a little bit more about that, you know, how does this same sentiment represent itself in other places? Like, is this character always lying? Is that one of their big flaws? I don't really want to write like that. So maybe they see little white lies is okay, but not other lies. And then that can spiral and then they feel like they're in over their head and all this kind of stuff. So that was kind of an unexpected kind of outcome, I think, from writing that character planning. I feel like I'm a lot better at going through and describing the world than I am sitting down and describing the characters. But then when I'm writing, I feel like that's flipped. When I'm writing, I feel really confident in presenting characters and less confident in presenting the world. So that's interesting as well. Wolfie, thank you so much for tuning in. Best of luck in November. Make sure to use that track bear if you're so inclined. Keep track of your progress and you can contribute to the community's word count and maybe we can write 500,000 words together. On Monday, I'll go through the steps on stream for how to do that. what it looks like. If there's anyone who's interested in that, maybe if you're not interested, it convinces you. If you're interested, at least you have a little bit of a tutorial. And I think it could be really good. Let There Be Conflict says there's a French movie called White Lies or Little Lies that's based on the premise similar to your Devon character. They all have their little lies. Yeah, I think right now I'm still kind of tiptoeing around. Like this character is the main character, and I don't know if that's the main character I want to write. Still kind of figuring that out myself. Again, this is why I just feel better when I'm drafting, because then I make a decision because the narrative kind of feels like that's what it wants me to make, as opposed to trying to plan characters out before I write. I feel like I'm trying to settle into decisions, but then I may need to be flexible later as I'm like, maybe this isn't working. Maybe it is working. Phantom says, getting in the zone is such an awesome feeling, like whether it's just making characters or world building or even the actual writing. It is. It definitely is. And you know, sometimes it just takes a 25-minute timer and some lo-fi music to get you in the zone. Just an excuse to not be distracted for a bit. Frost says, I have no clue what I'll name my thing yet. When it was still a short story, I was going to name it The In Group. Now I'm not sure since the focus isn't in the titular group anymore. Well, for what it's worth, the name for this story, which cracks me up, the name of this project file is Gnome Camp. Because my original idea, I just knew two things. That was never going to be the title of the story. You know, disclaimer. I don't know if that's a shocking revelation there. But when I saved it, I was like, this is kind of funny. Gnome Camp. And then I kind of landed on the idea of Tiny Doors. So look, that title's going to change as you draft. But choose a fun placeholder name. If you got to have a placeholder name anyways, you can always try Gnome Camp. I'm continuing the story I started in the spring, Lantern Valley says. Got to finish this winter. Whoop, whoop. I believe in you. I believe in you. Fun is underrated. Heck yeah. Willow says, oh dang, we were already on our break. We're on the break. We were on a break. That's a Friends reference. Thank you. Oh, is it? Yes. Found myself watching like an hour of Friends bloopers the other day. Still good. Still good. I think I am getting some diminishing returns from trying to plan my characters. So I think in our next sprint, I'm going to go back to plot stuff. And I'm going to start trying to fill out some Save the Cat stuff here. And I think mostly what I'm going to do is I'm going to take what I have in this plot framework 2 that I had opened up. So let's go in here and open this in other editor. And then in this editor, I'm going to open up a Save the Cat plot. You're seeing some Scrivener guru stuff happening on the screen right now. And now I can click into, this is going to be cool. You're going to like this. So I have this entire Save the Cat plot over here that I brought over from that Save the Cat template Scrivener folder, if you remember that the other day. And I have the plot framework kind of stuff I was working on earlier this week. And if you remember me saying I want to start putting it into Save the Cat. So what I'm going to be doing here is I have over on this side a lot of the plot information that I've been drafting up. And on the left side, I have the folder view for all of this stuff going on for the Save the Cat. What I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to click into each one of these files, and I'm going to go over here to the synopsis, and I'm going to write out, okay, in the opening theme or opening scenes that I have here, what am I expecting to happen? What do I want to happen based on what I have on my plot information? And then what's going to be cool about that is later on, all of that information will be present here, and you'll get a great look at the plot in its entirety in Save the Cat in this view on the left. It's going to be good. Willow says, someone in the Nov community asked how to come up with a novel in 2 days. Do you think that's even possible? If you're talking about how to come up with a novel in the sense of like how to come up with the idea for a novel, yeah, sure. I think at bare minimum, all it takes to get started writing is you take two unique ideas and you smash them together and you're like, that sounds interesting. And then there's people who start writing with very little planning because they're just kind of discovering the story. Now, could you start and finish a novel in 2 days? I don't think so. Could you write 20,000 words in 2 days? I mean, you could. As Zinder says, I know of a person who can pump out 20,000 words in 1 day, so 40,000 words in 2. That'd be pretty cool. Come up with a whole story. If you mean like just planning it out, yeah, I think so. Especially if you wanted to be really focused for like, I'm gonna sit down at 8 a.m. and I'm just gonna plan everything out. And I think if you're inspired, you can get the whole plot down in a pretty good way. For sure. But also remember, like I said, some people don't want to plan very much. If you remember, like when I wrote, I can't remember if you were in here for this, Willow. The Scrivener file for my book I put out last year has almost no planning for the characters, which means all of the planning was really the plot and a little bit of the setting. If I go into, this is my actual Scrivener file for Kindle for Talking Dogs. If I go into one of my characters, here's all the planning I did for a character. Easy. Honestly, I think more often than not, we are over planning. There is something appealing about writing and discovering, but I think that for every single person, you find that balance of what you like to discover versus what you like to plan and how much of each of those things. So, I mean, every person's going to be different. I think you can come up with a novel idea in 2 days. Sure. I don't see why not. Justin says, I honestly think the reason why people don't read as much these days, besides the way reading is taught, would be the death of the pocketbook. The pocketbook. I love the pocketbook. Also, hello, Kaylee. Hello. Also spent most of my day planning a single character. It'd be like that sometimes. I spent the last sprint planning character stuff, and I was really trying. I just don't know how much it truly helped what I already have in my head about the character. So still a lot left to discover when it comes to planning characters. All right. Landon Valley says, what does planning a character even mean to you? That probably means more than anything. Yeah, that's a good question. What does planning a character mean? Does it mean planning their character arc? Because I kind of do that in my plot framework more than I do on just like sitting on a character document and typing about them. Does it mean trying to understand them at a more fundamental level, like their thematic elements, their character wound and their character flaw? I don't think I necessarily have done that in the past, but I'm always trying to experiment and try something new. All right, let's put 25 minutes up on the clock. Let's keep going. I'm going to go back to doing some plot stuff because some character stuff is intertwined in there. And after this, let's see, it'll be 7:40 for me. We'll see what we'll do. We may do some kind of last final check-in before November starts. That could be fun. 25 minutes on the clock. Good luck, everyone. All right, the long sprint is done. The unexpected long sprint. How'd everyone do? Actually ended up making a lot of progress putting things into Save the Cat. I'm not happy with everything in there, but I just wanted like something, just something in there, you know? I like the order presented by Save the Cat. Everything seemed to fit where it needed to fit, kind of already how I had it in my head, put into those story beats. So I feel pretty good about that. I've almost got the last one down, but I can give you a little preview as to what this all looks like when you're using this outline view. So now I have my plot framework put into here where I can go through and I can see the total target word counts for each section. I can label them if I wanted to. I could put them in a status if I wanted to. I don't really use these features, but they're all there. Let's see what progress did you make? It looks like Professor Willow had a great time. He broke through. I put the pieces together. A cinematic fight scene I feel proud of. That's awesome. I love that. Ooh, did anyone else see that? Test. Okay. Did anyone else see my face flash on the screen for a second? Yeah, that is awesome. Kaylee says, made some more decisions about that new character, still working on their name. Now, just a suggestion, if this is meant to be a strong, brave, skilled, handsome, talented character, I've always felt the name Carson really carries a lot of weight there. But, you know, that's just brainstorming. We're just all brainstorming. There's no stupid answers here. Phantom says, finished writing a page for my character introductions and brainstorming for the next one. Love that. Zender's rooting everyone on. Let's go. Bra's about to actually start writing. Love that. 12,000 words of the story left for Professor Willow. Ready to write. Look at that. Phantom says, dog. I say Mog. I don't know what this means. I just see some people do it. Maybe that's not a good philosophy for me to do that. If it's a strong, talented woman, name her Brasra. There you go. There you go, bro. What a coincidence your name is Carson. Hilarious. It looks like everyone in the chat agrees with what I was saying, if I'm reading all this right. Guys, stop. Hey, stop it. Stop it. All right, I'm loving it. You know, next time that we meet, we're writing. We're doing the thing. Feels good. I'm working on 2 projects, but I gotta tell you, I am excited to start working on Tiny Doors, but I'm also excited to continue on the 3rd draft of Upon Careless Gray Hills. One of the cool things while we're talking about this, let me pull this up. If you decide to follow along and use TrackBear right along with us, you can have more than one project that you're working on and keep track of how you are writing and the progress that you're making on your stories independently. I will be using that feature. As a reminder, we have a leaderboard that when we start writing, we can all contribute to, and it'll keep track of all of our progress. And more importantly, there will even be a little bit of a leaderboard, which I think is going to be fun. Now, we all know it's hopeless to compete against Margot in terms of word counts. So we're all shooting for second place, and that's okay. We take what we can get. If you would like to use TrackBear, this is totally free. You just go on there, make an account. It is a super lightweight passion project by a developer who just wanted something to be able to track words on. So it's very simple. I will also be tracking my words on Pro Writing Aid's Novel November. So you can see those there too, and you can earn badges and come attend more writing sprints. Especially if the time zone thing doesn't work for you, you can still write in writing sprints with plenty of other people over there in November. I think TrackBear here for our community is going to be great. If you want to join this, you can go into the Discord, and there's a link that I've put there in the information of the Novel November section of the Discord. You can click on there, you'll come in here, make an account, and then you will be joined in this leaderboard, and it should be really fun. Whenever you do want to enter words in, you just go down to the bottom right and click on this little calendar. You can enter these in retroactively. So maybe, you wrote on the weekend, but you didn't bother putting anything in. You can go back and choose the right day on the calendar. Select what project you're working on if you have multiple. And then you can either enter in your progress if you are going to use words, which is what I think most of us are going to use. But you could also, if you end up liking this tool, maybe words aren't your big motivating factor. Maybe you just want to put in a little bit of time. You can track your progress based on time as well. You can also add notes. So maybe you wrote on the live stream, maybe you didn't, maybe you wrote in a cafe, maybe you hit a great eureka moment. And I don't really know what to use the tags for, but hey, there you go. So I'm really excited for this, and I hope to see you guys do it. Can I join the Writing Theory community, Willow? Of course you can. In the description of this live stream, I think there's a link to the Discord, which is where we predominantly talk story and all this stuff. Most people in the live stream right now are part of that Discord. If you want to join here on TrackBear, the link is in there, but I will go ahead and send you this link. I'll post it in the chat. And you can join there. You may have to make an account and then maybe re-click that link. I'm not totally sure how it works, but then you should just see a little button that says join this leaderboard, and there you go. You've done it. And then every time you write, you can put that information in there, and you'll see the leaderboard and our total trajectory, I think, going up here. I don't really know how to do it. I'm figuring it out right along with you guys. So that's going to be something interesting. I have this set up so everyone's working towards their own goals, but we will be able to see the progress on the leaderboard. Neat. I don't know anything else about this. So that'll be fun to explore together. Look at that. People say my writing pace is insane, so I'm excited to see how it compares to use. I'm expecting for myself my total word count, if I had to guess, to end up at I'm expecting my total word count to end up around 60,000 words. That's what I'm imagining. Now, here's a little bit of a tough part of it is because I'm doing the third draft of one of my stories here. A lot of that information coming over into this new draft is maybe like plenty of scenes I've already written in old drafts. So I'm going to try to not let that bloat my word count if I'm just copy and pasting anything. So I'm only really going to be including the real good progress here. That'd be cool. Anyways, next week's When It All Begins. Check out the video I have coming out on Monday on exposition. I think it's a really good video and it's been really well edited. And I'm excited for you to see it. The video after that will be a tutorial on using Scrivener. Even I'm still learning new things about Scrivener, so some of the things that I discovered on here on the live stream aren't making it into the videos. But if you've ever been interested in trying Scrivener, you can watch that video and it'll get you where you can use a lot of the cool features, and you can even use it for November if you really want. That's kind of cool. All right, I hope you all have a great rest of the night. I'm gonna go feed the dogs, and I'll see you on Monday. If you want to come be part of the Pro Riding Gate live streams and do these sprints a little bit earlier in the night for you, if this is too late, you can find a link for that in the Discord as well. It'll be 2 hours earlier, no, 3 hours earlier than when this live stream starts. So that's 3 p.m. Central Standard Time for me. So maybe that's better for you. I don't know. We'll figure it all out. We got a whole month to do it. All right, everyone, have a great rest of the night. Thanks for joining me. And I'm so excited for the next time we meet because we are going to crush it. Me and you and everyone involved, we're going to tell some great stories. And most excitingly, let me know about your progress in the Discord. I want to see those word counts go up, and I want to hear any questions that you might have, any challenges you're facing, because we can overcome them together. And that's awesome. Have a great